Some of the most pollutive sources are pollutive sources of energy, and 90% of all the energy used in the United States comes directly from fossil fuels. Pollution aside, fossil fuels are a finite resource and one day will have to be replaced. I'm here to talk about some possible alternative energy sources, because according to the reserve production ratio model, in 25 to 35 years, all the oil in the earth will be used up. And in 45 to 55 years, all of the natural gas, and in roughly a few centuries, coal will be gone as well, though the price will drastically increase before this ever happens. It is imperative that we start looking for alternative sources, some of the cleanest of which are solar, wind, and hydroelectric energy. But first, some information on fossil fuels. The total world coal resources amounts to about 10 quadrillion metric tons. The Middle East holds approximately 65% of the entire world's reserves of oil, Saudi Arabia accounting for 25% just by itself. The United States is the world's largest importer of oil, taking up 25% of consumption, but only containing 2% of the global reserves. Our import is 2.5 times more than our domestic production. So just how much oil are we using? The world daily consumption is about 70 million barrels. The annual consumption is 25 billion barrels in 2000. Estimates of the total oil reserve are approximately 1 trillion to 1.2 trillion barrels. Each trillion barrels translate to about 6,000 exajoules of energy. Air pollution is one of the most serious problems caused by fossil fuels, as well as contributing to global climate change. The U.S. EPA suggested that 24,000 premature deaths are related to particulate pollution, of which 17,000 are said to be preventable. The South Asian brown haze made up of sulfates, nitrates, soot, and ash may become a global plume if not regulated. To avoid further damage to our air supply, solar energy may be utilized. In 2008, total worldwide energy consumption was 132,000 terawatt hours. So the solar power incident of the Earth, or how much energy that we receive from the sun every day, is 174,000 terawatt hours, which is greater than our consumption. This could technically supply our energy, but to put this into perspective, a Boeing 747 consumes energy at a rate of 140 megawatt hours. It would require the equivalent of 560 tennis courts to power just one Boeing 747. And considering that every day approximately 6 million people board airplanes, this adds up to be quite a few. Also, it takes solar panels roughly 2 years to gain back the energy that is used in making them. Wind has a much faster energy return rate, and its potential is several times the current energy requirement. Wind's predominant environmental impact is purely aesthetic, but there is another issue. The energy production of a wind turbine may increase or decrease drastically within a few hours, and there's a very specific set of wind speeds that they can safely operate at. Today, hydroelectricity is responsible for some 17% of the world's electrical energy. Hydroelectricity represents energy of the highest quality, and hydroelectric power generation produces essentially no pollution. The construction of hydroelectric dams, however, floods local vegetation, and when the vegetation decays, it produces methane, though this methane represents a much lower environmental impact than that of fossil fuels. Unfortunately, the hydroelectric resource is almost fully utilized, especially in the developed world. In the end, no matter how much money we put into coal technologies, or how much we utilize the oil in Texas, Alaska, or the Gulf of Mexico, we will run out. And if we run out before we establish a new reusable energy resource, we risk doing huge technological damage. Solar energy, wind energy, and hydroelectricity are some of the cleanest renewable sources of energy and could very well power our future. Thank you.